How are you going? This one is a real different one because I decided last night to go out there and have a look around because I haven't been out there for a very long time. And I just went with it because I wanted to see what's happening, what's the energy like, how's it feeling, and has it changed up? Well, 100% it's changed up, and it's a positive thing. So I sat down, and another reason why I went out there is because I'm having so many vivid experiences at the moment. And the other morning I was in bed and I rolled over, but while I was rolling over, I felt the other part of me astral traveling. But at the same token, my brain was switched on for me to roll over in bed. But the other side of me was experiencing this incredible movement that I was going through. And the movement that I was going through, I honestly felt like I was in my own bubble. It was this incredible bubble that I was able to maneuver through my thought patterns. So I was concentrated on that because I was experiencing something I hadn't experienced before. And I was trying to understand, what was I in? What was this about? It was amazing. And I recognized that I was able to maneuver, not how we maneuver our bodies. It felt so different compared to that. It felt so light, but like even while I'm moving my arm here, that felt so different compared to how I was able to maneuver my body, but I was in a sitting position. Then I recognized, what was I in? And even though I couldn't see it with my eyes, but I could sense it, and it was just like a bubble, my own bubble, and I just called it my little private spaceship. But it was a ball, and I was sitting in there, and the way it maneuvered, it just floated, and it moved to the direction of where I wanted it to go via my thought patterns. Now that was incredible. But at the same time, if you go back, I was trying to roll over, and then my mind went back to my physical body. But I laid there and I thought, wow, that is amazing. And while I was laying there, I noticed even then that when I had my eyes closed, that I was seeing so many shapes and forms coming through. And that's something I haven't seen before, because normally it's energy that I see, but this time I had different forms of shapes. And I laid there and I thought that was quite incredible as well. But the other thing there, energetically, the energy that's coming through my body is of an incredible heat. And it comes up through my feet into my hands. And when I'm even doing healing via Zoom, while I'm experiencing the heat, and it's really, really intense, the person on the other end is also feeling the heat coming through. So yeah, they've turned up a notch. But that's all come from, this weekend has been a very sad time for New Zealand, as we've had 2 lots of stranding from the whales. And they have beached themselves. It's got to 500 as a total. and the attempts of trying to help them is not being successful because they have said that it's a shark infested area location, so people can't go in. Now I'm really in tune with the whales, and they are our giants of the sea, our gods of the sea. To experience the loss of that amount is huge, absolutely huge. Little did I know at the time this was happening, but in the weekend I came in and it was like somebody had just shut me down. And it was a complete sadness that was going through my body. And I came in and it was like I was losing my sight. I just knew I had to stop. I was out in the garden. And I laid there and I texted my mother and just said, oh boy, whatever I'm going through, I'm picking up on something big out there. And she said, and then she told me of the stranding. And it just made sense because being an empath, yeah, I connected. So yeah, it was something that I knew then for the whales to come in and strand themselves. The energy had shifted, something is going on, and it was potent. We also had a full moon. It was, I couldn't believe that night. I thought somebody had left the light on outside, and I went to have a look, and it wasn't. It was the moon. It was so bright. It had intensity in it. So those whales are letting us know there's been a shift, a massive shift. So what I'm wanting you to do now is definitely connect to the land, because little did we know that by kicking our shoes off and being in bare feet, we recharge every ounce of our being within minutes. So the longer you can stand there with bare feet, the more charged you will become, because you need this right now, because the energies of the ascension, just the bombardment of the heart, just so many things are happening at the moment, and you need to come back into balance. The whales are letting you know it's so important right now. And so yeah, that's why I went out last night. I had a look, and it's something for the first time I found fascinating, because normally, like I've said, I just used to go straight up. It's not now, I just walks through. This time I tried to find pictures for you to understand what I'm saying, because if I could only plug myself in on it and have a projector, it would make my life much easier. But even just trying to find the pictures is something really hard, because even then a lot of them are not going to show what's really out there. But I've put some pictures together to give you an idea. And so I just walk straight through, and I know when I'm going through it, because all of a sudden everything is solid goes into a wave form. So it's like water translucent. So if you looked at water and you threw a pebble in it, the water ripples. So you imagine, instead of it laying down, it's now in front of you and you walk through it. So then it transposes to fit for you to walk through. And the shape and the form change. While you're going through. And while I was going through, I didn't recognize the energy, but yet I did. There was a massive change up. It's so hard to describe by trying to go back and remember. But while I walked through, I saw all these colours, but I saw the portal. I was walking through. It felt beautiful, and I knew it was okay. So I kept walking. But I knew that while I was walking, I was going in further transitioning in a new timeline and transporting myself to go out there to look. Now then, while I was walking along, they were talking about the water, watch the water. And that's something we're always being told. But this took a different form. And while all the colours and the portal were changing up, and then I saw it had already formed, that I was like I was walking through the middle of the sea. And the water rose, you know, it was right up. And I stood there looking at it. Knowing that it was a path I had to walk. And just walking along there, I knew I'd been here before. The energy in there was incredible. You could feel the energy had messages through the water. It was like I was going through a cleansing stage, but picking up so much information while I walked through. And hence the whales. That is when I was asking about the whales. What's happened? Where? But while I was walking, it took me into another dimension. And I knew I was right out there. It was a magnificent feeling going through the whole experience and just trying to go back in there again to bring through the information. Then they showed me again New Zealand, and they showed me with all the water that rose up around me while I walked through it, then dispersed. And then I watched what was happening. I then witnessed New Zealand became so much more of the land. I saw that the water went down. And while it went down, I then was witnessing again, which I've already experienced it before, earlier on one of my videos last year or the year before. Last year. And where I was standing on the land, and it rose. And it was literally coming up, but it wasn't even just that it was coming up, it was the water that was going down around us. And while that was happening, I then asked, where does the water go? Where is the water going? And then I got told the deserts will have plenty instead of bare land. Everything is coming back to be renewed and going back to what was. So the deserts will have water. And I watched it. And while I was watching it, it was amazing. I was watching all the fish and the mammals of the sea. They were all flowing in with the water that was rising up, and that was to go into the deserts. So every country that is dry will have plenty. And the riches of the energy of the soil will be replenished once more. This is an amazing experience, just witnessing that. So then I switched back, and I went back to New Zealand, and I was going on I was walking upon the land, but I went over to where the land that had been under the water, and what they were telling me is that the fossil and the minerals that are in the land and the soil has been restored, but they had been restored for thousands of years. And the density of the soil to grow and the produce that we'll be able to provide is going to be incredible. But it wasn't even that. They were showing me all these, the minerals and the crystals, and they'll be used in the healing, so of healing one another. There are definitely, it's coming from the ground, but it's coming up from the ground, and it's all sitting there. They knowing it. And so this morning I was finding it fascinating because I was trying to get the size of what's underneath New Zealand, and it just kept going out and long. And while it was going out, I noticed that I felt like I could just step over to Australia. And I couldn't get over the amount of land for us. The economy just picks up straight away because the farmers and people were going to work the land to feed us all and others. But to actually, it felt like it was starting to connect with Australia again. But I noticed Australia, they then had like where Sydney and Brisbane coming down on that side, there was more land that was coming closer to where New Zealand, the new part of New Zealand was. But even Tasmania felt like it was joining up. To the other part of Australia. I was amazed, but it felt right while I was watching all this take place. It really did feel right. And to witness it and to feel it, yeah. So this morning I jumped online and I had a look to see if there's any information I could find. And sure enough, it was there. It was incredible to find the information because it confirmed what I was seeing, but to actually have it in front of me was powerful. So I'm going to put some information just to show you, but yes, they've known of it, and they're trying to do the studies of how long and that it's the sunken land of New Zealand, and it's called Zea Landia. And the coverage of the land space, 5 million square kilometers. I said before about Zealand that over 1,000 years ago, but once I looked at this information, and it was on Thought Co. And yeah, they were writing that the rocks that were discovered was over 500 million years ago on Zealandia. Now, I started doing more research, and it's over 5 million square kilometers. 94% is underwater. Now, can you imagine that for New Zealand? We are known as a little tiny small country. Most of it is underground. It has a diverse geology. The crust is thicker than that found in oceans, in other oceans. This was really amazing. It encapsulates New Caledonia. Geologists found continental type rocks, not oceanic rocks. They suspect that it is a drowned continent, so it is classified as a continent. It contains rich plant and minerals and other resources of limestone, sedimentary rocks made of shells and skeletons of marine organisms. Imagine the goodness down there. It is of a special interest. Now, this is what got me when I read this, and it makes so much sense. It put so many pieces of the puzzle together for me. When I read this, it was full alert, and I just thought, that's what it is. It is of special interest to international governments and corporations. Bingo. I could never get over why they were drilling. International companies were coming in here drilling in New Zealand. It's because we are way bigger. They are drilling our resources of this pure land which is underground that we can't see. And they have been drilling it, hence affecting our whales out in the sea. It makes so much sense now. For geologists and planetary scientists, the area holds many clues to our plants' past and may help scientists understand landforms seen on other worlds in the solar system. Well, I think there's a lot more than that going on that we have never known. So yes, they wanted me to go out to have a look, to experience it. And I said down that we've got New Zealand here, we've got Australia here. And I was talking this part of Australia, but a lot more, the top end. It's like when New Zealand comes out of the sea, which the water levels out more, that it then will take this side of Australia. So it's more this top end of Australia. And yeah, it just makes sense. If this rises, that side, all down that side of Australia is going to rise as well. So I found that fascinating, but to actually see something on what I was experiencing, and I was getting told. So it's going to be really interesting about the water and with the deserts. But you can see it just makes sense. It just literally makes sense why we are so behind, but yet we are a day ahead of the rest of the world. We're ahead of Australia. It's just all eyes on New Zealand, but it is at the moment, because it is all eyes on New Zealand, because we are 6 months behind this. And it's got to a state now that our free speech is literally going to be totally taken away from us now. So even my videos, I'm going to have to be really careful. So yeah, I thought that was of interest that you'd like to know. So I am going to go out there more now. It's taken me a while to understand the new energies and reconnect and just become, because I did feel, and I was guided not to go out there for a while, but I think it's time again. So you'll be seeing more of my videos on that. So this is a download that came through the other day as well, and I wanted to share. Have you noticed you've been feeling more tired lately? And is how you feel like you're walking in a daydream, that your outer world no longer feels real. It's because you don't resonate to it any longer. By now, you are purging your past, letting go of what doesn't feel right to you any longer. This is because you have been doing your own inner work and just being. Even if you didn't consciously know you were, knowing you were doing it, if that makes sense. Your future self was assisting you to do it anyway. October now, we are going to shift more as our earth ascends herself with the universal energy. This is where more darkness will show itself to us all. As we are collectively lifting our vibration, this allows more of a positive shift, which exposes the darkness. So reveals will be coming out thick and fast this month. Later, more to the later end. As Mother Earth herself is purging and renewing herself, as no longer being stuck energy can vibrate upon her land. This is where the more conscious you are aware to what is happening, the stronger you will become in your knowing, and will be able to help anchor in the truth to be shown. So stay grounded in your strength, and the stronger you become within, the stronger this will come through. Financial, government, religions. For you to now is to align your soul and listen to your heart. Look at your life. Are you happy in your job? Is it energizing you, or is it draining you? This is time to look at this and focus on your new future job, which energizes you. The world is collapsing the old matrix, so you can see where you are going. Do you feel pulled to start a new project, a new job, start a family, move to another home? It's time to start listening to what your inner self is wishing for you to do right now. The heavy restraints that once held you back are being dismantled as we speak, for you to find your true purpose. How amazing is that when it's pointed out this way? You are literally being shown how controlled you had been by society as the blinkers come off. As the world does not like free thinkers. And if you have seen in your New Zealand, our leader is putting a clamp on us for such things as classified as a potential threat of disinformation being a war crime. Again, the universe is showing the world for the outside to see how controlled we are and have been. As there is a reason for this, as she was groomed. Have no fear as the energies are clearing, and follow where the energy is pulling you. As you follow your heart, as your heart will never set you wrong. Stop questioning yourself when you feel it within. Stay clear within so you can connect to your higher energies. In my dream last night, I got to see out there. There were far less timelines to get tangled up on. I watched the movie Wonder Woman 84. And some truth bombs were in there. Go watch it. It's really interesting. And I had a smile on my dial while watching it. What was strong that came from it was, if you were given one wish, just one wish, what would you wish for? right now. Because if enough of us wished for the same thing, we could shift the energies for it to come into fruition. By shifting people to see the truth and the non-truths creates a ripple effect on what now is the most important thing on one's mind, world peace. Feels like a swear word by just even saying that now. As everyone is over the BS, whether asleep or not, we all have had enough. So visualize the new earth and world peace for all, and it creates a ripple effect out there. As the right intention gets put out for us all to be, for it to become in fruition. When we lift our vibration, we can see a full 360 level. So we can see right around, nothing will get past us. So we are able to see all levels and work out what resonates to you and higher soul's growth of others out there as well. You will see their growth. So yes, in my dream, I was out there helping to dismantle the timelines of the wrong energy that was causing so much disharmony with my truth rope. It was a full-on dream, but one I know was so significant. The timelines are becoming clearer as we ascend into the future reality of the higher dimensions. So the lower density souls will no longer be able to reach these levels as we leave them behind. So feel into your truth now, and you can ascend and ascertain the love vibration. Does it feel right? Or does it feel empty? Step out of the hamster wheel and finding the information that keeps you going. Down the rabbit holes, you'll start noticing that you don't want to listen to that anymore. As the old linear ways may have been true, but it pulls you down from holding on to it, and it pulls you into a state of fear. It's time to heal. You need to cleanse to be able to stand in our truth, I should say. We have done our learning, but if we continually regurgitate the heavy energies, we hold ourselves back from ascending. To dismantle the system, we have to raise higher than it. And if there is enough of us, we can achieve this, as then it does not become a thing. It becomes nothing. It no longer has a hold over you when you ascend higher. Then you are able to be the light for others to see, so they too can emerge through the darkness. The more you learn, the longer you stay down those rabbit holes. So when is enough is enough. With the earth shifting, it is actually lifting you up to see. Hence why you have noticed that you don't resonate to listening to certain topics or people, as you no longer vibrate on the same frequency as you. As you have ascended further to complete the last part of this game, as you were called in to participate in the Hunger Games. Is how fitting they made this a movie to understand the true meaning behind it all. So now you can see why your energetic body needs to stay in tune and balanced as our physical body is purging and so much from our ego self and also for the collective. You'll be more in tune and balance, so your wisdom will come through. So the rest of the month will show more of the destabilization of the structure of the matrix that is crumbling away. Be prepared and stay centered. Listen to yourself now. Step out of the eye of the storm and create what you want, so your manifestations will really start happening. Mother Earth is dropping off what no longer aligns with your energy. It's harder to stand up and swim upstream than it is to just to go with the flow. It makes sense. So with that, go out there, swim upstream, get your goggles on, your flippers, and just keep going. Because, oh my goodness, yes, it's going to get really weird just very soon. And it is going to be more of an illusion that will be shown. And you just keep walking. Just honestly, just keep walking through it. That is what I went through when I went out there last night. So it's just, yeah, just breathe through whatever you're going through. You are purging everything that does not need to be with you. You need to be clearer. It is like going through the eye of the storm right now. You have to let go. You have to transform. To transform, that is when your form becomes lighter. You become lighter. You become clearer. And that is one thing I can definitely say. While I was going through mine the last so many days, I feel clearer in my head. I feel lighter. I feel more determined than ever before. So grab on and let's keep going forward, because we're all going to get there, and it feels right. You can feel it. You know we're at that last part. So let's keep going and bring more and more energy of positive love. And let's build that love and push it out there. So I love you guys. If you like and subscribe, this is the way we are able to keep moving this channel. And drop me a comment. I would love you to tell me, what do you like more? My readings, the reveals, what I do, whatever. Because it helps feed my soul as well. Okay, have a fabulous day. I love you. See you next time.